If you want to have the courage to go up to any girl, here's what you do. You go to the bar, then you spend $50 on 4 watered down drinks. Now, once you're off this $50 concoction, now you can go up to a 7 out of 10 wench and then maybe have the possibility of bringing her home now that you're off your special juice. No, I'm just kidding, obviously, no. See, are you really gonna go to a bar, meet a girl, and lock her down for a long-term relationship, take her home to your mom? She's probably got like 20 bodies by now. Probably not, right? Unless you're just looking for like a degenerate, hookup. That's fine. But if you really want a high quality girl, you're probably not gonna be carousing and having yourself a fucking, jolly old time at the clubs, going up to girls. No. So if it's not alcohol, then how are we gonna have courage to go up to girls? Is it a magical spell? No. Well, no. Is it buying $700 Gucci sneakers? No. I mean, those could help maybe. Those are kind of cool. Well, no, it's none of that. So let me tell you a story. So this morning, I actually made a huge mistake. I failed. I was on the roof of my apartment complex where there's a little tanning like grass section. There's a pool, and I was walking back towards the elevator, and then I saw this girl. She had obviously just been tanning, and she was kind of like putting all of her clothes back on, putting some stuff in a bag. And I think she was kind of cute, but the only problem was she wasn't paying any attention to me. She was like, putting her clothes on or whatever, putting her stuff back on after she had tanned. And so when I saw this, I was like, I shouldn't approach her. She's not paying attention. I don't want to walk up on her. I don't want to scare her, right? So I just keep walking by. And then later, I just immediately regret it, right? I'm like, oh my God, that was completely an excuse. That was bullshit. Thinking back on it in hindsight, I know that I could literally have just, talked to her from afar. I could have used a higher pitched voice, been non-threatening, and it would have been fine. I could have walked up to this girl. I could have talked to her, started a conversation. It would have been great. But no, I let the excuse win. And so I failed this morning. It doesn't happen often, I will say. I talk to a lot of girls, but this morning I let it happen. And it's something I actually see a lot with my clients is they'll see a hot girl. I mean, this has probably happened to you before, right? You see a hot girl, you're thinking, oh, I should probably go up to her. I should probably at least say hi, start a conversation. But then you don't, and you immediately regret it. It's probably a tale as old as time. And so the human brain, especially the male brain, it's amazing at coming up with infinite amount of excuses, rationalizations for why you shouldn't approach that girl in that moment. But then of course later, the same guy, he's lonely at night and he's jacking his little wiener. And he's wondering why he's so alone. Well, he didn't have the courage, he didn't have the balls to approach the girl. And so now he's alone. And that's just what it is. When it comes to approaching women, think of it as sort of like, I don't know if you've ever jumped in an ice bath, but maybe it was on your first time before you went in the ice bath. And you're dipping your toes in the water a little bit, right? And you're like, damn, that's cold. Or maybe you put your legs in, your calves are in now, and you're hesitating. You're afraid to get in because of how cold the water is, right? But then you just jump right in, and then immediately you're in there. You're no longer fucking worrying about it. You're no longer anxious about getting in the water. You just jump in really quick, right? Or it's like ripping off a Band-Aid. If you have a Band-Aid on your hairy ass arm or leg and you slowly peel it off, it's just like excruciating. Like it's the worst. rather than if you just ripped it off, the pain is just gone. You're no longer anticipating any negative emotion or pain or feelings, right? So it's the same with women. Really, if we're talking about courage, initially, where does that come from? Well, there's a couple things we need, and it's not much. Really, you just have to drop your ego. Really, especially if you've been on a dry spell, or maybe you're not as experienced, or it's been a while, right? You have to drop your ego, because realistically, you're not going to be as sharp. You're not going to be as quick as in the moment with your conversation, with your confidence, as someone who's like out in the field every day like me. It just doesn't work like that. And that's okay. So initially, to get through that barrier, you're just going to have to drop the ego. You're going to have to be okay with being awkward, right? It's not a fucking movie scene here where we have written lines. This is a real life conversation, okay? So dropping the ego, you just have to have the gonads initially. And then once you've done that, 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 times, the courage thing, it's like, it goes away. Obviously, you still get a little bit of butterflies, especially with the really, really hot chicks. But it comes with anything else, like it's practice. Imagine they put like a high school football player in at quarterback starting in like a Super Bowl. He would be pretty fucking nervous. Now imagine you put Tom Brady in, right? He's trained his whole life for this. It's the same with talking to chicks, man. It's this same fucking thing. You need to practice. And if you had some experience in the past, but you're not doing it consistently, that's what they call getting rusty, my friend. You need to schedule times in your week where you're specifically going out to socialize with intention. And unfortunately, especially with the younger generations, they had the kind of easy way of getting their first relationships. I remember in middle school, I was like Snapchatting like chicks. Like I wouldn't even meet them initially. I would just like meet them on Snapchat them for a couple weeks, and then maybe see them. Like how pathetic is that? It's kind of sad that kids nowadays, they're starting all their initial interactions on social media. They don't even really get the chance to refine. So if you are in that place where you want to be better with women, you want to get a girlfriend, or you want to get a more attractive girlfriend, you need to approach women in person. Now, if you're doing this initially, you don't even need to start trying to ask for numbers yet. All you have to do is go up to girls, give them a compliment, and say, "Have a nice day." Or you go up to a girl, you ask them for directions. This is a good one that I give to my clients. You go up to a girl and you say something like, "Hey, I'm new in the city. Do you know any good spots to hike? Or do you know any good restaurants around here? I'm new in the city." You ask for directions, you ask for assistance, and then you just get in the habit of talking to girls. If you do that initially, you approach girls without even having any kind of romantic intention, you will build up ultimate courage, because it'll be so like muscle memory for you, just moving your legs, not hesitating, going up, not worrying about outcome. And that's pretty much it. There's not a magic pill. You're not gonna, suddenly get jacked and then have the courage to talk to girls if you're not talking to girls regularly. You're not gonna make $1 million and then that day you're gonna be automatically good with women. It's not how it works. You have to literally get better socially. It doesn't matter if you're jacked. It doesn't matter if you're rich. If you don't have experience with women, you don't have experience with having the courage to go up to them, with flirting, with conversation, body language, you just don't have it. You just don't have it. It'd be the same as like a kid who's raised in the forest. I don't know if you've heard of like stories like this, right? Where there's a kid and he was like abandoned or something in the forest, and then he was raised by wolves. Now they found him in the forest and he's fucking crawling around like a wolf, and he doesn't understand any like ways of the civilized society. That's how it is, because he just didn't have the experience of the modern way of living in human society. So he was raised amongst wolf and now he thinks he's a wolf. It's the same if you don't have any experience with talking to women. You just don't have it. It's not in your brain. Now, your gonads are telling you, your nuts are telling you that you want to get with the women, but you just don't have enough experience yet. You think it's such a scary thing to talk to women, or you see some fucking like old BuzzFeed video or some like liberal bullshit about how you shouldn't go up and talk to girls. It's all fucking nonsense, right? Girls want to be approached. They just want to be approached by guys who are not gonna kill them or kidnap them. Like it's fine. It's completely natural. Or your alternative is scrolling on Tinder like a dork, or like I said earlier, going to waste $50, $100 at the club and then having your liquid courage. So just to recap with this video, mainly I would say if you're just starting out, just go up to girls, ask for directions, give a compliment, and then say have a nice day. Stuff that's platonic, stuff where you're not showing romantic interest. So do that initially. And then also remember to not hesitate. Remember to not walk around, look like some creepy dumbass. If a girl sees you walking around or like, building up the courage, she automatically can see that. She knows that you're thinking about going up to talk to her. Now, if you've hesitated and she sees that and then you go up to talk to her, where does that put you? She thinks you're not confident. In the ideal situation, of course, we're humans, we're not perfect, but the ideal situation, you see this chick from afar, you don't even think about it. You just go up to approach. Think about just like any other animal that doesn't have an ego, so they don't need to maintain this, this picture of themselves they have in their mind. Any other like species, living organism that we see, there's no hesitation with going up to, meet a mate in the animal kingdom. It's just with humans, because I believe because we have an ego, we don't want to get rejected. We think it's going to diminish our self-worth, which of course it never does. It only diminishes your self-worth if every single day you see hot girls and then you are too afraid to, and then deep down inside you want to, but you just keep caving in every day. Rather than if I was to go up to a girl, even if I get rejected, I still know I had the courage, I had the balls to go up to this girl completely sober, and that's a key thing too. See, guys can go up to a club, go get drunk and talk to girls in the dark, in the fucking loud ass music any day. It doesn't make you courageous really to do such a thing. But what you don't see is a lot of guys going without alcohol and just talking to girls, being social without alcohol, okay? That does take courage. And also in that situation, in a club situation, in a Tinder situation, it's easy, right, for guys to go up to girls. So you have a lot of competition, a attractive girl, they might have like 5 dudes trying to talk to her in those 2 situations. Probably even more online, of course, but at least in a club. Maybe like 5 guys trying to talk to her. If you're out in the mall, if you're out walking the beach, you're at a coffee shop, how many dudes are actually approaching girls completely sober? Think about it, like 1%. So if you're able to do that, you're in the 1% for at least this category. So we've got that. Yeah, basically to build up your courage, all you need is more practice. Once you break the barrier of thinking it's scary and you realize that your self-worth doesn't diminish, that it's actually fun and it actually increases your self-worth because you've done it a couple of times, then your courage just raises to an astronomical level. And I've seen it with my clients time and time again. So now, if you want more expert level advice on conversational flirting and mindset, then I recommend you click the link in the description. This is where I have my community, and I give live coaching, and then we have also support there with the rest of the guys.